Did y'all really think the party was over for Celsius Holdings after the PepsiCo deal? Come on, man. I'll get to some of my thoughts around that introductory question a bit later in this content, but as I normally do with my quarterly financial content of publicly traded functional CPG brands, I will use the recently filed earnings report, notes I took from listening to the earnings conference call, and any relevant publicly disclosed news. In this case, it's for Celsius Holdings in their 2022 quarter three to kind of update you on the performance of Celsius energy drinks, but also use it as a backdrop to discuss market insights within the broader energy beverage category. That being said, let's start with some revenue numbers to kind of set the foundation for this content. In the quarter, Celsius Holdings had revenue of $188 million, which was up 98% year over year and also up 22% quarter over quarter. This is another record quarterly revenue number for the energy drinks brand and represented its 17th consecutive quarter of sequential growth. Now, breaking out the revenue geographically, North American sales were $179.5 million, which was up 112% year over year. International sales was $8.7 million, which was down 17% year over year. While Celsius reported a fractional quarter over quarter increase in the markets outside of North America, this hasn't been smooth sailing for the energy drink brand that did acquire its Nordic distributor in late 2019 and formed a joint venture with its Chinese partner, I think, a few years before that. With the rocky elements from the global supply chain, geopolitical tensions, and then also a strong dollar, Celsius has smartly focused its attention and resources to fueling the insane growth in the domestic market. Here's kind of the good news though, the PepsiCo deal will help matters, or at least that's the assumption long term, as it makes the beverage giant the preferred global distributor for Celsius. PepsiCo is the second biggest in terms of beverage distribution globally, so it would be kind of silly for us to think that international expansion won't happen over the next handful of years. Shifting this content quickly into a gross profit margin update for the quarter, Celsius reported 41.8%. That was up 210 basis points year over year, and then also up sequentially 330 basis points. Now, if you have consumed my Celsius content in the past, this next section is usually a little bit more robust, but because of that August distribution and investment deal with PepsiCo, things have gotten a little bit more simplified for Celsius Holdings. All that being said, I still want to run through a bit of that retail and distribution update because it does tell a ton of the story about why Celsius has been growing so quickly. Celsius energy drinks are now in 174,000 locations in the United States. That's up 5,000 since the last kind of quarter that was reported and has grown a staggering 60,000 doors year over year. That should grow even further as the PepsiCo distribution deal gets further up and running. Of those total locations that do carry Celsius energy products, almost half of them, which is 86,000, are convenience stores. Now, according to NACS, which is the National Association of Convenience Stores, there's just over 148,000 convenience stores in the United States. So, what that actually means is Celsius has a lot of incremental retail space left to land in that dominant sales channel for energy drinks. Celsius did report IRI consumption growth in the channel of 158% year over year over the last dozen weeks ending October 2nd, 2022. Currently, the Celsius Direct Store Delivery, aka DSD system, services 92% of all large tracked channel store locations. That includes 100% of the mass retail channel and 99% of the convenience channel. With the if it's cold, it's sold cooler strategy, which has definitely helped Celsius Holdings, the company placed an additional 550 coolers in the third quarter. That brings the total since the program started to over 3,500. These coolers are basically placed strategically within a retail location where they can drive additional revenue and velocity because of the immediate impulse purchases that it causes. This gives customers access to cold product availability, which allows Celsius to take part in a larger buying behavior, natural buying behavior of the energy drink category. Additional cooler expansion and acceleration of the strategy will be seen throughout the next year. That's on top of Celsius potentially getting into the 50,000 PepsiCo co branded energy coolers that are placed within the North American marketplace currently. In terms of consumption growth, Nielsen data for the period ending October 22nd, 2022 shows that Celsius grew 118% year over year over the last 2 weeks and 120% year over year over the last 12 weeks. That's significantly larger than the broader energy category, which grew at 10% year over year over those same last 12-week periods. I also want to deep dive into a few specific sales channels because I think it will provide additional color to the Celsius Holdings growth story. Again, this section will be a bit lighter because Celsius Holdings decided to pull back on some of that specific reporting transparency. A channel that the energy drink brand did still break out was the digital channel, and specifically Amazon. And I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but my belief is that e commerce is the next frontier for beverage retailing, and having a long term integrated sales channel strategy needs to be centered around the digital channel. This has been an area of huge strength for Celsius Holdings over the last few years, so they definitely understand what I'm talking about. Celsius Holdings saw another strong quarter on the Amazon marketplace with an increase of its sales of 79% year over year. That outpaced the categorical average by more than double in these last 4 weeks ending October 22nd, 2022. They are also now securely the second best selling energy drink brand on Amazon behind only Monster Energy. Through the first kind of 9 months of 2022, Celsius reported generating just under $43 million of sales on the Amazon platform. That's up 108% year over year, and it means that Amazon accounts for almost 10% of the total Celsius Holdings North American revenue, which is quite impressive for a beverage brand. The next channel I can want to talk about and add some color to is within the wholesale clubs like Costco, Sam's Club, and BJ's Wholesale. In the first 9 months of 2022, Celsius sold around $92 million in energy drinks through the club channel, which was up 285% year over year. Now, selling that much product through wholesale clubs might seem crazy, but consider how it compares to the market leader within an ancillary wellness beverage category like RTD protein shakes. Premier Protein is about a $1.1 billion revenue creating machine, and they do about 50% or a little bit over 50% of the revenue through the club channel. That means the market leader of a beverage category that's considerably smaller than energy drinks is doing 4 times more the run rate of Celsius Holdings. So X plus Z carry the three, and you have, doesn't really matter, a lot of runway left for Celsius Holdings in the club channel. Now, I want to shift into what I was referring to in that introductory statement. There is this like ongoing changing of the guard that's happening, both in terms of the DSD distribution partner strategy at Celsius and within the market leadership within the energy drinks category. First, I'll kind of update you on that distribution partnership with PepsiCo. Most retail accounts now have been transitioning as of, I think, October 1st of 2022. So any of the numbers that I have mentioned throughout this content isn't really taking into effect most of that PepsiCo bump. Celsius did want to update the public markets on how that's been going, though, because it's been going pretty well, with growth in both ACV and items carried per store exceeding their expectations on both of those metrics. The latter metric is important to mention because at about 8.5 items per store average, Celsius still has a lot of runway left to catch the US market category leader of Monster Energy that has an upper like 20s average of items per store. That being said, Celsius was once again the number one brand driver of growth to the energy category over the last 12 weeks, ending October 2nd of 2022, with the brand being responsible for 29% of the energy drink category growth, driving over $123 million in incremental sales. What does that all kind of roll up to? Celsius has surpassed Bang Energy to become the number 3 energy drink brand in the United States, with a 4.9% market share compared to Bang Energy at 4.4%. Now, hold your horses on getting super excited about that. Firstly, this is based on 1 week data from IRI. Secondly, Celsius is beating a Bang Energy brand that is battered bruised and confused at where they are right now. Just like when retailers were delisting Coke Energy, Celsius is one of the biggest beneficiaries of the Bang Energy delisting process. So Celsius is gaining incremental shelf space on that change, but you can't assume that Bang Energy or any of the other like fast charging energy drink brands like Ghost, C4, Alani Nu, or Rise Fuel are going to make it easy for them to retain it long term. For my kind of quick thoughts, I want to update you on something I've mentioned in several pieces of older content on Celsius Holdings, and that would be around the fast protein brand that they acquired alongside the Nordic International Distributor. Yes, it did launch, or at least it tested in the US market on Amazon, and it did okay, at least from what I could see with those listings. And yes, I still think long term it could be a potentially like complementary business that gives them this like energy and protein 1-2 punch. But Celsius is smartly putting all of that on hold in the near term to focus on its core Celsius Energy brand during this very important PepsiCo distribution transition. Well, I hope you enjoyed this YouTube video. If you did, consider hitting the like button to support me. Also, help me get to my short term goal of 2,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. I'd love to see you join me on this journey, but we need to fix the fact that slightly less than, I think, 80% of you that are watching this YouTube video right now are not subscribed to my channel. It confuses me why you're not at this point. But regardless, it makes me sad that you aren't. So, do want to thank you, though, for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.